Oh, hey,
Hey,
something is going on here.
Hi,
So,
I got kicked out.
yeah, something's going on here. So, yeah, I don't know what happened. So, unfortunately, it just brought everybody on. So, that's weird.
That's really weird. Yep. I don't
Yeah,
know what happened there
yeah, it's weird.
because it just completely shut me off. Completely cut me off.
Yeah, let's try to switch this around a little
Oh
bit.
dear.
Let's see what we can find here. There we go. Let's find this. Well, it brought everybody on. So, I don't know why that happened, but hi, Kelly.
hi, Huntophobia. What's up?
And Lex, how are you?
Not surprised by another technical error, but I'm good. Thank you very much. How are you?
So let's. What I'll do is I'm going to put you, Kelly, back in the green room, and then we'll be back with you in a minute. Okay?
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Yeah. So that was weird.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So it doesn't go without saying that if we don't have a problem, we don't have a show, and that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
That's now our gimmick, isn't it? Really, something
Yeah.
goes wrong every
So
week.
yeah. So
I can hear you.
how
Yeah.
are you? How are you, Lex? I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you much this week, but
Just
how are things going?
well, I've been yeah, so far so good. More planning went into more videos again today. I'm actually really happy because I hit 184 subscribers. So big news for me. I did a live show yesterday with Age of Darkness, and I managed to get 6, 7 subs out of that. So it's been a good week. Been a good week so far. And how about yourself?
You know what? It was definitely an interesting week because of the site. Am I? Yeah. Just hold on there. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's been definitely an interesting week with the site. As you as we went through the interview last week, we were having some issues with some hosts and stuff like that, not doing what they said they were going to do, which doesn't really surprise me. It happens anyways, right? So,
Yeah.
but other than that, we were able to get back up on Thursday, which was great. So it seems to be going well. We had a lot of signups Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which is really, really good. So we're definitely going in the right direction. We did change the theme
Yeah.
on the front page, which I think is a little more nicer than the other one. For I had a couple of people tell me that it kind of looked like a medical site. So I don't know how you'd get that, but anyways, and I will say your camera is excellent today compared to
Oh,
what it was like 5 minutes ago.
oh,
So
thank you very much. I'm glad it fixed itself.
yeah. So, but other than that, things are going well. I just finished watching the uh, last episode of the 3-part series that's going up on Paraflixx. I
Yep.
did what I had to do at my end, and now Zach is going to do what he needs to do at his end,
Lovely. I'm looking
and we'll
forward to
have
seeing it.
those. Yeah, we'll have that 3-part series up and ready to go into Paraflixx when it starts on the 21st. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have a show. Our show, we've decided, me and Zach have talked about it at full length.
Yeah.
We decided that we're going to do it once a week instead of putting all the episodes up. So that's what we've decided to do. And I know some other content creators are going to be doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
I think that way it's a little more suspenseful, especially with a 3-part series coming up.
I
And
was exactly about to say that. I was going to say, if you're going to have a series on a thing, if something happens in episode one, the wait for episode two makes it better. You just got like, oh, 6 days to go. Come on.
yeah, and the videos are like I've never done it this way. So Zach decided to to do something a little bit different with the videos to make it more like a TV show rather than something that you would see on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing, and he's done some pretty good work, and I think he's pretty proud of himself too. So, and I don't blame him because he's doing some wonderful things with the episodes itself. So
Yeah.
but I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do and how many I'm going to have in the first season because I got so many videos. I got so many videos going on that I don't know what I'm going to do. That's weird. What is going on here? I'm looking at the actual YouTube and it's showing something completely different than what we had before.
What do you mean?
Are we online? But we're in a completely different room, I think. But we're in a completely different room, I think.
I've got it on here,
Yeah.
and I'm still on the original link.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I just because before before we came live, it showed that we had 7 likes. Now it's only showing that we have 1.
oh yeah, I wonder if it replaced the original one then when we had that issue. I don't know.
So what is going to happen right now is the fact that this will be the last time we'll be using Melon because they can't seem to get their act together.
No, it
So
just seems to
with
keep
the-
going wrong.
Yeah, pardon me.
Just keeps going wrong.
Yeah, so I don't think we will continue using them, but we are taping, which is great. So if people do want to see the actual show, then they can actually see it.
Yeah.
So once it's done, obviously. Okay, so what we should do is we should probably bring on Kelly, get this started, and yeah.
Yeah, to do it.
So as some of you know, Kelly has a YouTube channel called Kelly's Unexplained. Her channel is absolutely a fantastic channel. She's also a fantastic person. I've gotten a chance to speak to her a number of times over the last week or so. And she's really, really a very kind person. And let's bring her on.
Let's bring her on.
There
What
we
an
go.
introduction. Thank you.
You're very welcome. How are you, Kelly?
I am well. It's Sunday. It is sunny outside. It's beautiful, so can't complain.
Is it sunny outside?
It
Wait there.
is actually pretty outside. Yeah, it's been raining for the last couple of days, so
What's it doing at your end?
Doesn't look sunny to me.
that's what
Yeah.
happens when you're in England.
Yeah, and also
Oh yeah, I
because
forgot, yeah.
and also because you're it's 8 o'clock there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is 8:10. Yes.
Yes. So we seem to have had a problem again with Melon. So I don't know if you've heard. We've decided that we're completely strap Melon. We're tired of the beta testing Melon, and it doesn't seem to be working. So we are going to probably just move over to StreamYard. It's safer, it's better, and we won't have any fucking issues.
Yeah. So,
While we're here, we might as well enjoy the party.
Yeah. So, and excuse my language, but it just gets to a certain point where you go, okay, I give up.
I'm gonna have to double check the previous episodes. I think that might be the first cuss word we've used in the show.
Leave it to me to bring that out of you.
That's funny. So, well, thank you for doing this for us, and we really appreciate it. I got the opportunity to watch one of your videos the other day with Sean,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really, really interesting and informative video.
Yeah,
I got to learn a few different things.
Super intelligent guy. I mean, he knows his stuff, and you just ask him stuff off the cuff and he has an answer for it. I'm thoroughly impressed with his background and his expertise. So super cool guy. He's willing to help anybody out, and he knows his stuff for sure.
So, just out of curiosity, because he is a pretty popular guy, how
Mhm.
did you with him? Just out of curiosity,
How did I do what?
connect with him.
He followed me on Instagram, I think, and then I followed him back, or vice versa. I don't know which one followed who first. And then I messaged him and said, "Hey, would you mind let me interview you?" He said, "Sure." I think I saw that he was being interviewed by Wacky Witch TV, and so I knew he was okay with doing interviews, and so I just jumped out on the limb and said, "Hey, would you mind me interviewing you?" And he's like, "Sure." So if you don't ask, you won't receive. So I asked, and I got an interview.
That's very, very true. Go ahead, Lex.
I was gonna say, like, I think it's nice that people still give the time to do that. No matter, it's always good. I think the best way to connect with people on a viewer level is through interviews, and I think it's really humble that doesn't seem to have an issue with it whatsoever. I've seen some people that are very not into it. They'll read the message and not even say no. They just ignore you.
I've actually had one this last week. I messaged and they read it and didn't respond. I'm like, okay, moving on. So yeah, I've had a few of those. So I don't get a yes every time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when we want to bring people on this show, because a lot of investigators follow me on Twitter, and some of them are, their channels are on the lower side. So one of our goals that me and Lex wanted to do was have smaller channels on the show so we can help them grow.
Yeah, good for you guys.
So,
and that's what I want to do as I grow, because I had, I just started 6 months ago. I had so many people support me in this community when I was starting out, and I want to do the same. I don't want to be so big where I think that I'm too good for anybody. Your sub count does not equate your value as a human. So I'm never too good for anybody. And so I want to pass that along too, as soon as, if and when I ever blow up, for sure.
And and as I was saying, it's when I message them and ask them if they want to be on the show, they immediately respond and say yes. So we've been pretty lucky on that end when it comes to bringing people on, like Jenny and North Alabama. They were really good, and so it's really good when I think you bring out something like this and you want to help other channels grow. I just feel that I don't see that enough. I see more of the opposite end of things. People cutting up people's channels.
I will never be a part of that. So
yeah, and you know what?
I never get involved in it. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm here for positivity for sure. So you won't see me involved in any of that.
Yeah. So talking about investigations, when you go out on an investigation, everybody has equipment. We all know that. Everybody sees it on the videos and all that stuff. So if you were to go for your bag, and what would be the first thing that you would pick out of any of your equipment?
I always have 3 things with me at all times, because I never know when I'm going to stop and find a place to investigate. I have my batteries on me at all times, and I take my K2 meter, my spirit box, and a digital camera. And my phone, I usually film on my phone as well. But there was a time where I drove by an abandoned church and didn't plan on investigating and just happened to see it on my way home. And so I stopped because I had my equipment on me. I decided to do that one. So my top 3 would have to be the K2 meter. I'm going to measure, the energy. I need them to speak to me. So I'm going to use my spirit box. And then, of course, my camera, so I can bring all that footage to everyone. So those top 3. They're in my purse at all times.
Even when you're going out to the grocery store, they're in your purse?
Oh, 100%. Because I did a video at an antique store, and I just happened to drive by, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do an investigation. And I found $200 at the antique store. So I mean, you never know. So yeah, I have it next to my wallet and my lipstick.
That's great. Go
I
ahead,
think
Lex.
that's a really good point of I should probably do the same thing of always being prepared to find something when you're out.
Mhm.
Episode 2 for us, for me, when I did it, was we were on a train and we happened to notice that the place opposite the train station platform was empty and abandoned.
Yes.
And we actually couldn't go the same day because we didn't have a bag with our stuff in. We were just out. So I reckon because of the lack of well, not prepare, the lack of planning that went into that video, we were never able to go back and do the nighttime one, and not able because it was meant to be a two-part of that one, and we weren't allowed to go back and do the nighttime one. So if we'd had it on us at the time, we probably would have spent all day and night in there.
Absolutely.
So I completely
Keep
agree
it
that
with
that's
you.
something I
Of
should do.
course, you don't have like your full entourage of equipment. I mean, you don't want to keep that in your car and in the sun and in the heat or whatever all the time. But when you have I mean, the K2 meter and the spirit box are this big. I mean, you don't obviously carry a purse. I do. So, I mean, just stick it in your purse, a backpack, and go.
I have a backpack. That's fine.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, definitely agree with that. So if we're going to stick to the topic of investigations, then what can you tell us about the last one you went on? Whether I don't know if you posted a very recent one. I can't remember the last video, which I think is the gypsy video, if I'm right.
Yeah, that wasn't really an investigation. That was just a fun little, hey, I'm going to a gypsy fair in between two different investigations. I actually took a trip to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which is about 3 hours away from me. Straight highway, so it's a great drive. And my plan was to investigate the Skirvin Hotel, which is an extremely haunted hotel. And I stayed the night and I investigated it, and it went well. And while I was, asleep at night or, getting ready for bed, and I was like, you know what? The OKC Memorial is here. I wonder if I could go by there. And I investigated the Skirvin on a Saturday. Didn't know if the memorial would be open on a Sunday. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, it opened at 10 o'clock. I ate breakfast, went and did another investigation while I was there. And the Gypsy Fair opened up at 10. The museum at the OKC opened up at 12. So I had 2 hours to do a little gypsy fair and jump on into another investigation. And both of those, the Skirvin Hotel and the OKC bombing memorial, were absolutely phenomenal with ghosts and footage and evidence. And I'm really glad I just took that impromptu trip that I hadn't planned on. It was life-changing for sure.
No, yeah. And so obviously the Gypsy Fair wasn't an investigation.
No.
So obviously not that one then. What can you tell us about the most recent investigation you've done? Whether or not it's posted or not, I don't know. But
well, I just posted, not on YouTube, but on Twitter and Instagram, the trailer for the OKC. That one was, well, the Skirvin, I was telling Brian yesterday, the Skirvin was more kind of lighthearted and kind of mischievous. You could feel the energy of like mischievous ghosts running around, like they wanted to play and have fun and mess with you there. It wasn't very dark or negative. When I went to the OKC bombing memorial site the next day, the vibe was completely different. It was very heavy, very dark, very negative. 168 people died in a minute, 19 of those children. And being a mom and a teacher, when you mess with children, that really gets to me. And I cried, I was bawling, and it was very heavy and dark. And two different investigations, two different vibes. And I've really felt for the victims there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I was thinking about that. Well, it's not funny, but I was thinking about that last night after our conversation yesterday, and trying to remember where I was when that bombing happened. Mm-hmm. And I just remember how devastating it was for people, and what that guy did to that building was, and just having a truck parked outside of the building, and the destruction it caused was absolutely incredible. And Yeah, I was at home with my family when that happened.
Yeah, a lot
And
of evil there. And I think the most surprising thing is when you have an attack like that, you automatically assume it's outside or it's from someone else. But this was in-house. This was a guy that was born and raised in our country, fought for our U.S. Army, and killed his own people. So I guess that's what really bothered me. And I learned after the investigation that after this bombing, they no longer allow, it's a federal law that they no longer allow children to be in a federal building because there's no more daycares allowed to be at a federal building because of this. So you can't have a daycare there.
wow,
Yeah.
I'd never heard that before.
Mhm.
That's definitely interesting. And as we were talking yesterday, it kind of reminded me of the Twin Towers. And I
Yes.
told you guys yesterday that I was in New York I think it was about 4 years after, and the hole was still there. And then right beside there was a black tarp on one of the buildings. But as I told you guys yesterday, that I found very interesting. Some of the buildings down the road were fine, and I don't know, maybe they got repaired during that time. But then there was one building where a whole corner of the building was missing still. So I don't know how I'm assuming you can fix that, but it wasn't fixed. But the energy
Well, I
when I
mean,
got out of the
you can
car was
fix it.
yeah, go ahead.
You can fix it physically, but like they renovate hotels all the time, and that
Yeah.
energy doesn't leave. The Skirvin Hotel has been renovated. The Cecil Hotel right now that is on Netflix and everyone's talking about is under renovations. But those, in fact, not only does those renovations not make the energy leave, it actually makes the energy more ramped up because you're changing their environment and you're changing what they're used to. And so it actually antagonizes that energy, and you'll see more of it after renovations for sure.
Mm, mm.
Wow.
I just found when I was in New York, as soon as I got out of the car and as soon as I walked where the Twin Towers were or was, it was just like you could just feel it, and
Mhm.
I could see so much when I was there. And like with me personally, when I go out on an investigation, I don't know if you know this about me, Kelly, but when I go into a place, I can normally see what's there,
Mhm.
and I can usually see it a couple of different ways. If it's something positive or good, then it's usually a black mass and it's pretty solid. But when it's something negative, it's usually kind of a smoky and kind of moves slowly. So I can kind of tell the difference between what's negative and what's positive, I guess, if you want to put it
Yeah,
in that way.
I definitely feel that too. I feel it in my chest. Like I feel
Yeah.
anxiety, or I feel very like someone's sitting on my chest when it's negative. But that's really, really hard to convey to your audience how you're feeling because it's
Mm,
like, oh, I feel the cold spot. And they think you're crazy. They can't see you feeling a cold spot, or man, this place feels really weird in here. I mean, that's the typical thing that some ghost hunters say on TV, and the audience can't feel what you're feeling. The meters, the spirit box is something that you can convey to your audience, but I totally feel that your body is the best instrument. But for audience purposes, for video purposes, it's really hard to convey that. But I totally believe that your body is 100% your best resource.
yeah. Yeah,
I
I
agree.
believe that too. Yeah. Go ahead, Lex.
So on that point, I definitely agree with you. I think the human instinct is something
Mhm.
that can pick up all sorts. It lets you know when you're in danger and you don't even realize it. So the fact that it's not hard to believe that going into a place where tragedy happened, your body is going to pick it up. I mean, they say you can.
Mhm.
One of the biggest examples, they say that you can walk into a room after someone's had a huge argument,
Feel the
and
thickness in
and
the
the
air.
room could be empty, and you
Mhm.
can walk in there and you're still going to feel it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree. It's the hardest thing to convey, but I think people, especially the audience, are probably more aware of what it feels like to be in a place like that more than they let on when they're watching something, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got to say on that point. That's, the 9/11 site, Brian. I can't imagine what that would feel like to be there that early after the incident. I've never been to New York, and I always said that one of the places I would go to was go and visit because they've built a monument for it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I want to go there and obviously pay my respects to that. But I can't imagine what a place like that would have done. When I went to an asylum in a kids ward, it made me almost cry. So I can't imagine what going there would do. And I didn't know that about the Oklahoma thing with the federal buildings and stuff like that, but didn't quite reach me. So it's very interesting to hear that.
Yeah.
So you didn't know about the bombing there?
Nope.
And I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard of or known of anybody that's done an investigation there. Like, I can't find it on YouTube. I haven't seen Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures do it. I could be wrong in my research, but I was in the museum with 20, 30 other people. We were in groups or whatever. And of course I was taking out my meters and my spirit box and things were going crazy. I had the strangest looks. People were looking at me crazy, like, what's that crazy white girl doing? But
that crazy white girl.
But I mean, I didn't care. I was really connected to that place, and I felt sorry for the victims. In the museum, you have the killer's items are in there. The gun that he used, the car that he used to get away. You have the explosive device it's in the museum. The victims' clothes and their shoes and their keys. It's all in there. All heavy with their energy, and I was like, I don't care who's looking at me, who's staring at me.
Yeah.
What was the when you were walking around that museum, even if you didn't have your tools, if you luckily you did, what was the one item in there that really drew to you out of
Was the what that drew me?
Which one of those items of that day really pulled at you? When you were first in there?
It would have to be the shirt that he was wearing when he got arrested, and the shirt that he was wearing when he killed the people. When he was arrested, they took his clothes, obviously, and put him in the little orange jumpsuit, and that is in the museum. His handcuffs and the gun that he was wearing is all in there, and my meter was going off like straight red, and it would not come off red on those three items. So they literally took the shirt off of his back the day that he was killing those people and put it in a museum, and it was literally inches from me. And I just was like, holy cow, this guy was wearing this shirt, and it's right here. Yeah, that to me was powerful.
You know what? To me personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's a little morbid. Is it not?
It is morbid. It kind of reminds me of the Zach Bagans Museum, how he's got kind of serial killer items in his museum. But I mean, it was a multi-billion-dollar project, and they put it all in there. And of course, you have sections where it's about the victims, of course, but yeah, they had done a phenomenal job paying their respects to them and making him look like the person he was.
I agree with Brian's point a little bit there. Is it a bit immoral to do that? Personally, for me, I think it's weird that they've put first of all put it in the same museum. I think his stuff should have been moved, and that should have been predominantly for the victims of the day, because he is not important at any point for what he did. And I think the problem with doing things like museums with his stuff, that glorifies his actions in a kind of way, if that makes sense. Like you don't go to Ground Zero in New York and they've got the terrorist statues up there for it, because you don't want to give them a platform or a name to be like, yep, that's them. I think that's where it comes into a bit of a weird thing. I like the idea that they've kept everything on the victim side. I think that's a wonderful thing to keep their memory alive, but I think he should have been taken completely out of the equation, or at least moved to a different location to present, because you can't put them in the same place, really.
No.
But I do understand why they would do it.
Yeah. I will tell you, my meters weren't going off a lot with the victims' articles and the victims' items, but as soon as I got to his section on the 4th floor, it was red. So his energy is still there for sure.
So before we go on to the next question, I just wanted to ask one more thing about that. Did he not get killed in jail? Yes, I believe he did.
He was given the death penalty.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Died of lethal injection. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I mean, he admitted it within an hour. He got caught within an hour and a half, and they put him in an investigation room. He admitted it. I mean, he didn't deny it, and it was an easy case for sure.
Can you imagine how much hate one person has to have to do that? especially when the guy originally fought for his country.
Yeah.
And then to turn around and kill people within his country. And I understand that the guy didn't like the government, and that's fine. But the people in that building had no control at the end of the day on what the government does.
No, and when you start messing with innocent kids, that's when I want to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to fight him there.
Yeah.
That's
So just going.
all of these people.
Yeah, and that is because they're obviously mentally unstable, and they have a lot of other issues rather than just the government. So just going on here, we know you're a content creator for Paraflixx now.
I am,
as it says in the title. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen with that and your YouTube channel?
Well, before, what I would do is I would post full episodes of investigations, normally about 45 minutes. It's 30 to 45 minutes. It's hard to get a full investigation down to 30 minutes. I don't know how some people do it, but it's kind of like a woman who packs really heavy. Like that's what I want to do with my videos. And I realize I've got to, trim the fat on it. But with Paraflixx, that kind of changes the game a little bit. So I'm going to be posting probably a half video on YouTube, kind of a teaser, kind of here's some really cool things that I found, and the full video I will put on Paraflixx. Now, I do some small investigations, Lex, like I was telling you, if I stop at an abandoned church, or if I stop at an antique store and find a haunted doll, or do something at my house, something smaller, not this full-on documentary type investigation, that'll be a full type of video on my YouTube channel.
Okay. I'm going to ask one thing before Lex goes to his question. Okay. I watched that video on that mask you bought.
Yes.
A while ago. You put up that a while ago. Anything happening with that mask?
Not yet.
Okay.
I will say that the dolls that I bought have. But, I haven't revisited the mask. I probably need to revisit it and do another one. Because I'm not used to dolls. I mean, that's never been a thing that I've investigated before. But after I posted the doll video of the haunted dolls, people say, keep working with your dolls. Keep working with them. You'll get a lot. I'm like, what do you mean keep working with them? Like, what is that? I mean, I have to talk to them all the time.
What does that mean?
Invite them to dinner. Like, I don't know what you mean by keep working. I sit them on a shelf and I leave them alone. But apparently I'm supposed to work with the dolls some more. So maybe I need to work with and bring that mask out.
You're playing with their arms, or they're playing with it. You change them. What exactly are you doing?
So I may post another one after I've worked with them some more.
Now I remember watching that video because you had the mask. You just bought it and you were sitting in your car.
Yeah.
Doing whatever you were doing. I think you were using the K2.
Mm-hmm. K2 in the spirit box.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't working the spirit box right. I guess I didn't know how to use it. That was like my first time to have a spirit box. So it didn't do anything. My K2 meter wasn't going off. The spirit box was just flat. And then someone commented, I was so embarrassed. Someone commented, it was like, hey, hit the button that makes the...
Oh, no.
They were telling me how to use it in my comments. And I was like, you're right. I should do that. Thank you for that. So they taught me how to use the spirit box after that. I had just gotten it the day before. So,
And it's okay because when I got the K2 for the first time, and when I would go to in the investigation, not realizing that when you turn it on, all the lights go up and then it goes back down. So I thought, oh my God, look at this.
Oh my God, I can enter right away. It's hard to rest. This place is haunted.
So, that's and it's funny because then when I got the K2 and I never turned it on to see, I just put it in my bag. And because really the reason I didn't want to put it on, it was because if I turned it on and the light started going off, I was going to go, okay, what's going on in the place? So I didn't even want to turn it on. I just put it right in the bag. And not realizing when I got to the location, I turned it on and all the lights go on.
So I definitely need to revisit that and work with that mask more now that I know how to use the spirit box.
Yeah.
So
go ahead,
I should redo that one.
Before I ask the next question, I just want to say that I appreciate the honesty of you didn't know how to use it. I'll probably be the same when I get an actual spirit box. At the moment, I just use necrophonic. But I think that's the biggest important thing for anyone who watches this or the replay of it. I had a person in the live show I was in last night ask me like for some tips on how to start being an investigator. One of the things I said was, if you're going to film things wrong, you're going to use the equipment wrong, and it's fine. But you have to you don't get a guide. There's no manual to how to do this properly. You have to really pick it up, and I think that's nice of you to be honest and be like, well, thank you to the comment section, because now I know how to use it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we got to be honest. I don't fake any of my footage. I'm real. I'm who I am. And if I don't get anything, I'm going to tell you. Because I think these shows on TV, you see 45 minutes of intense investigations, but what they don't tell you is they were there for 8 hours, and that 8 hours, they got 30 minutes of footage, and they show you the best 30 minutes. But investigations are not always extremely hyped and exciting. I mean, you're sitting there for 2 hours talking and you don't get anything. And that's the one part that some of these shows don't, portray. And I think that's important. So yeah, when I don't get something, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how to use something.
No, I completely agree.
You know what? I think what the problem is, one of the problems and me and Lex have talked about this a little bit at length, and we are going to start doing it on the shows later on down the road. But I think what the major problem is right now when it comes to YouTube, and even some of the TV shows, and I'm not saying everybody does it. I'm not going to mention any names because we're not going to do that. But when people are putting out videos that are faking stuff, and putting in all these sounds and noises and all that stuff. And if somebody goes to a video where it's actual real investigators doing real investigations, and whatever the noises you are hearing is real paranormal stuff, that's where the problem is. Because people are watching these big YouTubers do these stupid things. And then when they go to an actual real investigator, they get bored within the first 5 or 6 minutes and leave. And I think these big YouTubers are setting a precedent that is not good for us real investigators. And it really, really bothers me and Lex. And we will talk about this in later shows, obviously not today's show, but it really, really pisses me off. And I'll be honest, and it pisses me off. And I don't go to those big channels that are doing that because I think it's shitty. I really think it's shitty. And I understand if you are going to do investigations, if you're doing it for entertainment value, that's great. That's fine. But if you want to be a real paranormal investigator, put up the real video. Like, seriously. And that's how I feel about it.
Put a disclaimer in the description box. This is for entertainment purposes only. And then
exactly. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I think Lex has said the exact same thing.
I think I said that on the first episode. I think I said it. Yeah. Whereas I just put it in the box that it's not real, and I won't care about your videos. But I don't hate people often. I hate channels that are faking it, and some of them are so blatant. I've been sent videos to review that are fake, and I have a really cool thing that I'm really good at looking into the background of videos, so I can, when I look at them, I break them down. And you can see the software they're using to add stuff into the video. It's really not hard to do. So it's hard to pull it off and make it look authentic. There are some that are so obvious.
I don't have time or the energy to do that. Like,
I just don't see the point.
I'm so busy. I mean, I work a full-time job. I've got 2 kids. Like, I don't even have time. I just put in what happens and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the reason I posted a video, the conclusion to my series. Nothing happens in it, and I still put the video up. And I said it on. I think I've said this almost every week now, but I said it on Twitter very publicly. One of my first tweets as a YouTuber, that I said I would rather put out a video that will have nothing in it that will bore you all to hell than fake one for views.
Yeah, it's exactly what I did with my mask. Nothing happened. My K2 meter didn't go off. My spirit box didn't go off because I didn't know how to work it. But I put on there, hey, got a cool mask. Nothing happened. Here's a video.
All I did was change the way I filmed the video. I started doing documentary speeches between the clips because I was like, let's make a video out of it at least. But I'm not going to add anything. It was just, I really have no respect for. I think I only watch 2 big YouTubers for paranormal stuff. I'm happy to name them. I always watch the Paranormal Files because I think they're great. really big fan of Colin, and I watch Twin Paranormal. They're probably the two big
That are
YouTubers
pretty
that I
legit,
watch.
yeah.
And I'm trying to open a dialogue with Twin Paranormal. Actually, I'd love them to come on here one day. So they're one of my biggest influences. So I have nothing to those two channels. But I don't think there's any other top tier paranormal YouTubers over 10. Let's say over 1,000 over 5,000 subs. I don't think there's anyone who's that big that I actually pay attention to because I know they're not real.
Well, I'm over 1,000 and I'm real. So
That's why I said 5,000 because I know that. I was like, Alex, you looked up her sub count earlier. Don't say.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're doing well. So go ahead. I'm going to say one last thing when it comes to that. I would rather have low subscribers with all my integrity, with high subscribers with no integrity at all. That's
it'll
how
come
I
back
feel.
to bite you. I mean,
So
do it right the first time, and you won't have to worry about it.
So I even got my first. I've had a couple of dislikes on videos, which is fine. Don't care about those. But I actually had my first negative comment the other day, and it's on a video I did a month ago. It's on a reaction video I did, so which is the only video I've done to hit over 1,000 views as of today. So I'm happy with that. Thank you. So, and someone actually commented and they just said, geez, can this be any more boring? And I didn't respond. I mean, I respond to every comment, but I'm not going to respond to the negative one. I'll read it. I'm not going to delete it. I'll leave it there. But I was just thinking about that comment and I was like, I did want to apologize for the fact he didn't like the reaction video because I think he expects me to react like other reactors do where they have to really milk the reaction. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like I've reacted to it as a professional investigator. So I was pointing out what things could have been. And why didn't he go through that door and have a look and stuff like that. So my reaction was like a review of the professional side of it. So it was really weird that obviously I don't care that he didn't like the video. I think fine, 1,012 people disagree with you, but it's fine. It was just a weird moment, like the first time I got it, and it's literally because I wasn't milking a review. That I was just, oh, that's a bit freaky. But let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Shall we? Yeah. Next question. What's up?
So is it me or is it yours?
It's your last two questions.
No, I got one more. I got one small one before then. So, of all the places, let's say I gave you all the money in the world, Kelly, to go off and investigate one place of your dreams. Where would it be and why?
I would have to go to Germany and go to Auschwitz, the concentration camp. I'm German and Cherokee, and I really feel connected to Germany. I'm a history teacher by day, and so American history and world history. So I really feel connected to World War II, and not for the German side, obviously. I really feel for the victims and the horrible atrocities that went there. And I don't know if anyone's investigated there, if you're even allowed to, but I just can't imagine the kind of energy and evidence you could capture at a concentration camp. So that if I had all the money in the world, I would spend 2 weeks in Germany investigating some of those places for sure.
So just a minor correction here. Auschwitz is in Poland.
Yes, right.
Thank you. German camp. Yeah, I know you know where it is, but I just wanted to make sure someone's going to point that out. But
some jerk is going to point that out.
And because I'm English, we know because I'm from England, we are taught nothing but the war in school. So straight away, I know what it is. But I think that's a really interesting place. I don't think anyone's ever said to me that that's where they'd investigate. I know that people have said they want to visit, and I agree. I mean, I would love to visit it because it's history and it's terrible history, but history nonetheless. So I'd like to go there for that reason. I've never actually heard an investigator want to go and investigate it, and I think that would probably be up there with one of the most active places in the world, potentially. I think so. Hats off to you if you ever get to do it. But that would I don't think I could cope standing there. But that's because I'm a sensitive person, so I generally feel like.
Oh my God! Here we go. Here we go. He's sensitive.
I am.
He's sensitive.
My humor isn't, but I am. So I think a place like that is probably one of the only places in the world that would affect me in a way that I don't think I could actually work there in that sense. But so if you ever get to do it, I'd love to see what you find, because it'd be absolutely fascinating.
It's almost like when the Twin Towers, like we
Mhm.
were talking about earlier, when I got there, I was so overwhelmed with the amount of energy that was there and what I was seeing, and I felt like I was going to cry. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
how bad it was. Yeah,
But the
so I
thing about
completely understand.
Auschwitz is it lasted for months and months and months to years. So the torture and the energy that's just being compounded, whereas the Twin Towers, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to, is more of an instantaneous thing.
Yeah,
It wasn't over
yeah.
a long period of time. So the energy is not compounded on each other. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm obviously not an expert on this, but just the suffering that took place that's embedded there for a long period of time by millions and thousands of people, for sure. Would have to be
I think the death toll is just what makes it different, isn't it? Because I can't.
yeah,
It's 2,000 or 3,000 for 9/11, wasn't it?
it's like 2,400, 2,500.
And then Auschwitz is 1.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Look
death
at
toll.
you knowing your history. That's impressive.
I this is a weird fact no one knows about me. I'm really, really into war history, so I actually watch a lot of documentaries on it. I've watched the German side documentaries.
Yes.
And no offense to any Americans, my favorite thing to watch is the American documentaries on World War, because the way they view it to how we view it is actually really different in terms of
I'm sure
why
a
we won.
Revolutionary War is the same way, where we
It
broke away
is
from
quite funny.
basic.
It's why I like American war movies, because it's always Americans that are doing like the big stuff, but it was a British person that essentially won us the war. So, the one they made a film about, Alan Turing, pretty much won it. But I think I think that's why I'm interested in it, because no matter everyone knows about it because of around the world. Every country was pretty much, loads of countries were involved, and I think to watch the documentaries from every side. I mean, I only found out the other day that there was an Italian dictator a part of it. I didn't know that in school, but I found out when I watched a documentary last week. So I watch a lot of war stuff.
Oh, Mussolini? You didn't know about Mussolini?
So I'd heard of his name. I just didn't realize that he was in World War. I thought he was just another dictator at some point.
It
So
was
I
a
found out.
threesome between Germany, Italy, and Japan.
So I watched. There's I think it's on Netflix or Amazon, but they did a World War in Color. That's the documentary I watched the other day, and that's when they said about him. And I was like, you know what? School taught me nothing, because I've learned more from this than I did in school.
Yeah.
It's just fascinated me. So I'm pretty good on my history.
Good deal.
That's a good location to go to. Obviously, me and Brian have a joint collective. Ours is number one is going to be Suicide Forest. I believe Brian's is the same. You can't. I think for the same reason. I mean, I could probably look into it. I don't know what the death toll is there, but I think just because the nature of the death there is going to hit me different than what it would do at Auschwitz. Auschwitz is straight up murder.
Yeah.
So, and it was kids and adults, so that's completely different. But in terms of going to the forest, what attracts me there is why that is the place to go in Japan for it. So that's why that's on my list. So it's always fun to ask that question.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. So I get down to the nitty gritty 2 questions, Brian.
Yes, you do. I love when you ask these questions.
I know
like
you
to
did.
see the reaction of the people. They already know it's coming, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see what their answer is, because we tell them in rehearsal, and then the next day, sometimes the answer changes. So
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna fix my face. No reaction.
No reaction.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Lex.
So, question number 1. Obviously, you've heard of the app that swept the paranormal nation of Randonautica.
Oh yeah,
You've
I
heard
forgot
of
about this one. Yes.
I hope you thought about it, because it's an important question. I'm keeping a note of what you say. I was gonna. So the question is, in your honest opinion, whether or not you've used it, do you think that Randonautica is directly linked to paranormal?
I don't know. I've never used it. I've never even, I'll be honest with you, I've not watched one Randonautica video from anyone.
You should. They're actually entertaining videos. They're pretty good videos.
I downloaded it and got the free version, and I was thinking about doing one just because I kept hearing it. I was like, what the? I didn't even know what it was till like 2 months ago. And apparently it's been happening for a while. And I downloaded it, and then I was like, it's sending me to the grocery store? What? And I was like, yeah. And then I think after the free version, I didn't even go on one because I didn't want to pay for it. It was like $9.99 a month. And I was like, I'll just Google some cool places and do that myself. Like,
Wait
why
a
do I
minute.
want
Is
to
it
pay?
cost? Does it cost?
Yeah,
I've never used it, so I
I
don't.
didn't
I
know.
used it once. I didn't know there was a
it's like
cost to it.
$10 a month,
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, I don't need Randonautica to tell me places to investigate when I can Google that and do it myself. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're fun to watch, and you get some really cool like exploring type videos, but I don't need an app to tell me where to go. I think I can find that out on my own.
so she's a no.
Is
That
that
sounds
a
like
no
a
or a
no to me.
maybe? Is that a no? We'll put a no. Yes,
Sounds like
another
a
no.
no.
No is
That's
winning.
more of a no.
Yeah, that's more of a no.
I'll tell you why I think it's a no. And
Uh-oh. There we go.
not a big one. I've said it before. So just quickly, the first one is it only seems to work for big YouTubers. They find all the dead bodies and suitcases with body parts and videotapes that need to go.
How crazy is that? That's so
Yeah, it's really weird that Randonautica chooses the big YouTubers.
yeah.
But the other reason why I don't believe in it, and I think this is when it first came out, I think the coincidence pushed it. I think someone found something on it. If I remember, Brian told me you told me what it was. What did they find? Was it a body in a briefcase?
Yeah, it was in a suitcase. They found it
Yeah.
on the beach.
So I was like, if there's anything that's going to link the paranormal guys to wanting to try it, would be that. So I was like, cool. And then something really fishy happened where they took the app down for updates, and then it went quiet for 3 months, and now it's exploded back on the paranormal scene with better locations than ever before. So I think someone has catered it towards the market that picked it up in the first place. I think they put it out for fun. It'll take you to random places. It'll get you out of the house, an adventure type thing during all this craziness. And I think that's what it was for. And then someone obviously found something horrible, and the developers were like, I got an idea. Let's go on Google. Let's find all these haunted places and scary locations and sites of murder and whack them into that app and charge £10 for it.
And then charge you $10 for it. There you go.
Yeah, and that's literally my belief on it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know the history on the Randonautica. And the reason why it came out in the first place. And we've talked about this on earlier shows or shows in the past. Originally, the reason it came out was because they felt that people weren't getting outside enough to explore their community. So they created this app so people can get out of their houses, off their asses, out from the TV or in front of the TV, and get people outside and experience their community. And then what happened, that girl or guy, I don't know who it was, found that suitcase on the beach with a dead body in it. And I guess the body was cut up. So I don't know how else you'd be able to fit in the suitcase, depending on the size of the person, I guess. But originally the reason it was brought out is for people to explore their community. And then, as I said, that happened. And then it just went gangbusters. So anyways, so that's my little 2 cents there, and maybe a little bit of history. I'm not a war history like Lex, but
apparently I'm a teacher, and I didn't even.
I'm sure
I commend that. I commend
that
for Len.
Canadian history that you know more than I do. I'm just very interested in history.
And the final and last question would be.
Hang on, I completely forgot what my other question is that I always ask. Oh no!
You should write it down. Like.
The Randonautica, and I'm gonna wait till he gets it.
Oh, what do I always ask? Oh no!
It's okay. It's okay.
What's do you remember it, Brian?
I can't remember a thing.
Well, I think earlier in the show we were supposed to ask you one of your favorite spots, and we got that. And I think the Randonautica was actually the last question, Lex. So
it's
not
I think
a big
it is, isn't it?
Yeah. It
is. My brain's gone completely dumb.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot today. I know this show went on a lot longer than anticipated, but you are a very interesting person. And when we get an interesting person on the show, the time flies by for some reason. And it's just, I think it's because all three of us are so invested in the paranormal. It just feels like it's a normal conversation that we're having just amongst the three of us. And I think
At a
that's why.
pub with a beer in front of us. We just
Yeah. Yeah. So, but now would be the time to plug yourself. If people want to go to your channel, if they want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
right up there where it says Kelly's Unexplained. That would be my YouTube channel. That's how I'm on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, same thing. So you can find me anywhere. I'll be there.
And for the people in the room that don't know Kelly and unsure where her channel is, we've put the link in the description, so you can just click on that link, go over and subscribe to her channel. Watch some of her videos. They're actually really, really good. I've loved a number of them. And I've been watching since, I think, October, the beginning or the end of September, somewhere around there. And I always find them a lot of fun. And you're very natural, and you're very, obviously, very good with your audience. So if everybody can go over to her channel that's in the room, and people that are watching this replay, if you can go over to her channel and click that link, click that bell. And so you can watch all of her videos. And if you want, you can even actually go to paraflixx.com and get ready for that March 21st launch date, because she's going to have some fabulous videos up there. And not to plug myself right now, because I won't, but Brian will have some good videos up there too. So,
My partner in time will be on.
You're allowed to plug.
Yeah. So
It's exactly 2 weeks till Paraflixx launch.
Yeah. So I want to thank you from my side. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. It was a real pleasure talking to you and learning more about you and how you click. And I think I remember the question, Lex. I remember.
I mean, he got
How
it.
did you get into paranormal investigations?
The origin story. Yeah.
We'll leave
My
that.
favorite question.
We'll leave that because we've been an hour, so we'll leave that one. But
yeah, you'll have to send me your origin story on Twitter so I can read it.
So then Lex can put it on the channel, and people can read how you got into it.
I think I've answered that question several times on the other podcasts I've done, so I'm sure
I'll go back and listen for it.
Yeah. But we will put something brief. If you can just text Lex and or DM him and give him a brief on how you got into it, then we'll put it onto the description.
Okay.
But other than that, thank you very much. I'm going to allow Lex to have the final word with you, and that's it, I guess.
Well, so it's a very, very quick final word from me. First of all, thank you for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I think obviously I spoke to you yesterday, but officially meet you properly today. And as I said to yourself yesterday, that this is one of my favourite rooms I've done for this show so far, because both of you were the first two people, one of the first people that I actually followed on Twitter and YouTube when I started doing this in September. So it's an absolute honour to be here with someone who is also helped push me up, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from how you present your videos and how you do yourself, and it's helped me work out how I want to do things. And I'm never going to stop thanking Brian for his help for me. I mean, now we co-host a show together. So again, I just wanted to let you know, Kelly, that it has been an absolute pleasure to actually meet you and get to talk to you. So thank you very much.
Y'all are so sweet. Thank you. Anytime.
And you have a great rest of the day.
You too, guys.
Okay.
Don't work too hard.
Bye. Well, you know what? We always say that we only want to do like a 10, 12-minute video or interview, and here we are sitting at an hour. And
it all just goes so quick.
You know what? I think what I said was right. Like, us being paranormal investigators, we're so passionate about what we do, and I think it's just one of those things where it's like we're just sitting there having a normal conversation between the three of us, and it feels like the time flies by. It's just,
I didn't even realize it had been that long. I thought we were about half an hour in.
Yeah. And you know what? Like I said earlier in the show before Kelly came on, that I've had the opportunity to speak to her a number of times over the last week and a bit, and I will honestly say this: she is a really, really good person and really, really fun to talk to. And I hope somewhere down the road we're able to work together or collab on a video, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, I guess we should let everybody go and go on with their day, and you go on with your day. And if you want to say anything final, that's great.
Well, I have a new quote to end on this time. I've decided I'm going to change
Here
it
we
every
go.
week.
Here we go.
So this one
Get-
is this one's more like a life lesson quote. It's not very long, don't worry. So first of all, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you for everyone who watched the live and who watches the replays. Don't forget to subscribe to both Hunterphobia and Lex Paranormal respectively, and Kelly, whose link is in the description below. And keep an eye on all the great work there. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Live your life as if God exists and be terrified that he does. Good night.
Wow, that was good. And mine, as you guys know, don't let yesterday use up today. Definitely one of my favorites. That, and I will
I actually
continue
really like
using that. I will continue using that till we end or stop doing this show. Okay, guys, have a great afternoon. And for people in Europe, have a great